I'm Ida, and I've always struggled with a feeling of belonging. Often I felt lonely and disconnected from others and completely powerless in this world. When I started to find my people, my perspective changed. I truly believe that when we stick together, we become stronger. I wanted to see how other queer people view community and society in their homes, to show the world their perspective, and to discover their struggles, fights, achievements, and moments of joy, to explore the power of togetherness. Here's a quick overview of my route. I've started my journey in Stuttgart, Germany, and my first destination was Prague in the Czech Republic. From Prague, I traveled through Poland, where I've been to Łódź and Warsaw. Traveling further north, the next city I visited was Vilnius in Lithuania, before traveling to Riga in Latvia. On my way back, I've been to Gdansk in Poland and finally returned to Berlin, where my travel ended. Although I've visited so many different cities and countries, we are only going to discover Prague together. After visiting Prague, we are heading to Vilnius, where we are going to meet two activists. They are going to speak about the situation in Russia and in Kazakhstan. But now, let's hop on the train to Prague. But before my journey could start, I needed to do some preparations. I discovered two couchsurfing apps, Couch for queer people and Travel Ladies, only for women. Both are focused on safer stays, so I decided to put them to the test and made the best experiences. I was always welcomed in a safe and cozy home, met wonderful people, went to amazing parties, film screenings, concerts I would have never found alone, and had the most beautiful evening walks. In total, I was hosted for 23 nights and only had to stay 5 nights in hostels. After these great experiences, I would surely also welcome a stranger at my place. On the evening of my arrival, I've been to the Edison Film Hub, a cinema in Prague. There I saw a film screening of the film Female Trouble by John Waters from the year 1974, which was followed by a drag show from the Pink Bus, a queer artist platform. Let's meet Ryan, who played a big role in the organization of this event. He will give us some insight into it.
My name is Ryan Keating. I work here at Edison Film Hub in Prague in the Czech Republic. So Edison Film Hub is a cinema that's owned by Film Europe, which is a film and media distribution company for the Czech Republic and Slovakia. And I work as basically a project manager and somewhat of an events manager as well. So I manage screenings, create events for them. Selfishly, I would like to organize something that I myself would like to go to, and that I feel is something that's important or somehow missing from Prague. And I think film is a wonderful way to educate people. It's a wonderful way not just to educate people, but to give people a chance to kind of let their hair down, experience something, feel something. And I think queer cinema is essential for this, especially older queer films like Female Trouble by John Waters, because it's bizarre, it's crazy, it's fun. It makes you just understand a lot about the queer community, I guess. And then attaching something to a drag show afterwards, I think is great, because it also brings in subparts of the community, like the drag part of the community.
The words of Dom Davenport, I'm so beautiful, I cannot fucking stand it.
What do you wish for queer people in Prague and in the Czech Republic for the future?
Well, definitely queer marriage, for one. As I said, I think it's ridiculous that we don't have it yet. And more spaces, more voices, I think, in the public, for sure. I know that now we have our first kind of drag talk show on ČTV called Chichi na Couchi, which is hosted by a drag queen called Chichi Tornado. So so I think that is great. That's a really good step forward. I think we need more of this for sure.
Firstly, focusing on queer spaces and social events, I interviewed Alina. For now, we'll see what she says.
My name's Alina. I am an American. I'm from Las Vegas, but I live in Prague. I have a business degree, and I am currently working on something called Sapphic Heat. I'm the founder. It's a party for queer women in Prague because we just don't really have that space here, and so I wanted to create it.
Okay, so if you want to find out what the term sapphic means, I think it's very helpful when we look at the origin, the historical background. And to find that, we have to travel far, far back in time to ancient Greece, because there lived a poet and her name was Sappho. She wrote poems about fancying man and woman. And that's kind of where the word is coming from her name. And nowadays, I will quote this. I read it in an article. I think it's very well put together. Today, the term is mostly used as an umbrella term that includes lesbian, bisexual, pansexual, trans, masks, femmes, non binary folks, and cis women. Yes. Why do you think sapphic spaces are important?
I think sapphic spaces are super important. One, for safety. I think that's like the biggest thing for me and the reason why I created this party, because this idea came to mind because I have a group of queer friends, and they always complained about like not wanting to go clubbing because when you go to clubs in Prague or clubs anywhere, frankly, you risk being assaulted by some cis man. Typically, I've had actually friends who have been roofied at bars and clubs here too. So that was really the main motivator for why I created Sapphic Heat, and also why I think Sapphic spaces are super important. The other reason that I think they're important is because we need a place to just not just feel safe, but also to meet other queer friends, because I know so many sapphic women where they find it hard to meet friends here and find that community and just feel okay. So, yeah.
After meeting Alina and talking about sapphic spaces, we're going to visit the Dorado Cafe. During Prague Pride this year, a lot of events were hosted there. After speaking with Dragej, who works there as a barista, we get the chance to discover an art project which is currently displayed in the cafe.
Okay, so my name is Blažej. I'm living in Prague for my 4 years. Originally, I'm from Bosnia. Previously, I was working like 15 years in IT, but then after burnout, I switched to working in a cafe like a barista, which I'm doing presently in the second of the other cafe in Prague.
Do you think queer cafes are or are not important, and why?
Yes, definitely they are. I would split it. There are two types like of the queer establishments in Prague, bar cafes. The one that are queer cafe and speciality just on the queer community. So queer cafe in Prague, if you go there, 90% of the people will be queer.
Yes.
And then there are community establishments, cafes, bars, and stuff like that. That have all the type of the visitors, but they are specifying on hosting projects or festival meetings, uh, anything that supports queer community. Last year in the other cafe, we had like workshop to discuss with people from Mexico and that region that are queer and trans.
Okay.
And even if I'm really queer myself, from whenever I know about myself, it was interesting to listen like to people that are living in completely different environment and what is their stories. Same as like hosting other events that are related to some art exhibitions. So to spread awareness about what is being queer and what can bring it to you, like to general population.
One of the art projects, which is currently displayed at the cafe, is a collective wall which revolves around the topic of queer identity. Everyone who participated was invited to think about the question, "Where is my home?" and to bring their answer on the wall. I really like the idea of this collective wall and love the colorful and chaotic result. I would like to invite you to think about these questions as well and to share your thoughts in the comments. With Ella, the person who hosted me in Prague, I also got to speak about the question of belonging. So let's see what she says.
So, hi, I'm Ella. I'm 26 and I'm a resident in Prague for over 5 years. I was born in Czech Republic and I'm a member of queer culture, I guess, in Prague. I think the community in here is very welcoming and, in a sense, everybody knows everyone. I can speak from experience. And I feel like that's why. You wanna go? Okay. I do feel very accepted by the community, and I think anyone would. How am I a part of queer community? Well, firstly, identifying myself as queer, also, and I think I'm also a part of queer community by being a part of protests. The biggest sort of protest, I think, is Prague Pride, that is yearly. People sometimes forget that it's also a protest in a way, that it is about sharing awareness and it is about not just the vibes. It's also the vibes, but it's about sharing awareness that we're queer and we're here.
What do you wish for queer people in Prague and in the Czech Republic for the future?
I think it would be nicer if the kindness that people are trying to spread, if it were more accepted by everybody, because I feel like the general public still views the community as some sort of a taboo, as some sort of thing that you shouldn't really speak out loud about. And I feel like that's a shame, because as a person who got into the community, I really don't think it should be something to be hush about.
After speaking about the situation in Prague, I had the opportunity to meet two people who can expand our horizons further eastwards. They will share their knowledge and experience, but it's important to remember that they are not currently living in these countries or are from these countries. Nevertheless, is their perspective very interesting, and speaking about it, it's super important. The project George and Natalie is now talking about was filmed together with Tobias, who we will see and speak to afterwards. So let's meet Natalie. Can you present yourself and your latest project?
My name is Natalie. I'm from Prague, and the latest project I did was Somewhere in the Caucasus. It's a short movie, and it's addressing LGBT community in Georgia and how they are affected, by the elections that happened there and the political situation.
Why did you feel the need to shoot the movie?
So even though I'm Czech and I'm from Prague, I was living in Georgia. I felt that I need to do something, even though it's not my country, not my people. But they offered me a second home, and lots of my friends are from Georgia. So I wanted to do this to just spread more information. And I went back to Georgia and we filmed it during the elections, which were happening there.
How's the current political situation?
And they also had the elections, and the Georgian Dream, which is the pro-Russian party, won. And right now, the country is heading more towards Russia, and it's not looking good for them, basically. What is happening right now? For example, for the people who don't know anything about this, in Georgia, they put a green flag for anti-LGBT law, which is a law saying that whatever propagation of LGBT, you will be sentenced to jail or you will pay a fee. So you cannot have anything like any representation of LGBT in the movies, in the books, posters. You cannot have any education. Especially the people in the villages, they don't know a shit about it. Sorry, but they still think that homosexuality or like LGBT, it's a sin. It's a very religious country, and few of our main protagonists, if you like meet them, they told me that when they sit down with these people who like knew nothing from it, like sometimes the people in the villages get the information from the priests and they're against it. So, but when my friends explained, they were like, "Oh, you are not that bad." Yeah, and this is exactly it. This is exactly how the regimes are like putting us like, if you will not have education, what will you have? Yeah, so this is how they are holding us back.
How are your friends feeling?
Yeah, when it was my reality, I because one few of my friends like they are on pills. It's just like it's too much for them, and they are fighters. Like Georgian people, even when you look at it historically, they fight it like all these centuries and all their lives. Like, but they are tired, you know. And then I think when I was talking with one of the main protagonists, he was like, "I'm starting to be so tired. I think I will move. I need to move, just like for me to rest. I will not be leaving this fight, but I will leave it to a younger generation, and then I will come back and I can fight again. But for us, I will just turn off Instagram, you know." And I will go to have a walk and enjoy this. And I will be enjoying that I'm not targeted by my government. Um,
Are we able to support their fight?
exactly. And that was one part of the debate we had. I think important, as we tried and we are doing right now, is to spread information. You know, like lots of people don't even know where Georgia is and what's going on there. And so the spread the information, just talk about it, like educate more people. And of course, there are a few organizations that are having funds which we can give for the people who are still protesting, of course. So I don't want to like to ask people to send money to them for the to protest, but it's one option, and then speaking about it, of course. But that's the right now that's the only thing I can think about, like how to help, you know.
So, to be honest, before meeting Natalie, I didn't know much about Georgia as well. After meeting her and speaking to her, I searched for some articles, etc., and I'm gonna link them below. So if you're interested, you can inform yourself like more detailed. The next person we're going to meet is also the last person we're going to meet in Prague. He's talking about the situation in Slovakia, and also in terms of that, I'm gonna link some articles below. So let's meet Tobias. So can you maybe present yourself and your family background?
So I'm Tobias. I study film school, and also I work in a theater, and I have 7 siblings. And my father is preacher, and my mother she also is a preacher. And yeah, we are this kind of large Christian family, because also my uncle is a preacher, and my grandfather was a priest. So yeah. And we live here in Vršovice, in Czechoslovakia site church.
How is your family viewing queerness?
As I said, my background is in this kind of large Christian family, but in our family, like the queer topics, it was never a problem. For example, marriage for all or anything like that. Our church also is part of Prague Pride. Every year there is a huge concert. I think that most of the people think that Christians are automatically against all those topics, against marriage for all, and so on. So I just wanted to show that there are many Christians in the churches who don't have any problems with all those queer teams who are queer friendly, and I just wanted to show that.
Can you present your projects?
So two years ago, I made the face in the colors of the rainbow, which was a series of 7 short videos. You can find it online, and it was interviews with 50 members of different churches across Czech Republic, and it was pretty successful because we also presented it in our parliament, and I also presented it to our president, and so it has some impact. And so after this project, we did a short podcast. It was called Pospolu. It's like together, and it was the stories of 7 queer people in the churches. And now I am shooting something similar on Slovakia, because I think the situation on Slovakia is getting worse and worse, and I wanted to talk more about this current political situation, because in the Czech version I was talking more about like biblical topics, and the situation in the churches, and marriage for all, and so on and so on. And on this in this Slovak version, I am talking more about the current situation, current politic situation, and also the situation like in the society. In Slovakia, they had a really popular gay bar in Bratislava. It was called Tepláreň, and it was like terrorist attack, and some crazy man just shooted 2 guys sitting in front of this bar, and he just killed them. And there was it. Of course, it has a huge impact on like the whole queer community there, and like for the whole society. But unfortunately, I think that many people, they didn't change their opinions, and politics are still really talking against queer people. I think like the situation is really different in Slovakia and in the Czech Republic, because the churches there, they still have like really huge impact on the whole society, and also because the Catholic Church on Slovakia is way bigger than in Czech Republic, and it's also more conservative than in Czech Republic. So this is also one reason why the situation is that bad on Slovakia.
Are we able to support their fight?
I don't think I will say something that original. So I just steal it from our protagonist from the documentary that we shot it in Georgia, because we also asked him this question: how can we help people in Georgia? And he just said to spread the word that there is some country fighting for its future. And I think also it's the same case in Slovakia, that it's some country that is fighting for its future and for its freedom. And I think it is very important uh, to just know about it, to talk about it, because I'm afraid that because we have elections in October in our country, and I'm really afraid that the situation will be really similar to Slovakia.
What do you wish for queer people in Prague and in the Czech Republic for the future?
I would wish that the situation wouldn't get worse after elections, because I'm afraid it will. So maybe I would wish to at least to not to change something.
The next day I left Prague. On the train I was filled with excitement for the time ahead. During the following weeks I spoke with so many amazing queer locals and filmed around 20 other interviews. You could say I really got carried away with this project. Unfortunately, I'm not able to show you more than 2 other people because this video has a time limit. Since we're already further east, I decided to give the space to Sasha and Mutali, who I met in Vilnius. They're not only colleagues but also friends, and Sasha even welcomed me at her apartment. So I can't wait to introduce them to you.
My name is Sasha. I'm a queer blogger, educator, writer, journalist, and what else? Something else, I believe. What I'm working on right now, writing my new book about how Russia sponsors so-called anti-gender movements across the world. I also have another project. It's about like inclusive sex education, and I'm working on its audio version. Also with Mitali, we are creating our project.
I am Mitali Maskel. I just recently moved to Lithuania and trying to adapt here, meeting new people, like sort of starting my new life here. I am a content creator and a queer activist. I have my blog on Instagram and TikTok. I'm just doing some like small projects within my blogs. There is also one project that is like a big focus right now is the project that I'm doing with Sasha. It's South Tunnel. It's a website for queer teenagers in Central Asia and Eastern Europe. It's just like an international project.
Can you tell us, what is your project about?
We decided to create this project with popular questions of teenagers that we had also when we were like young queer teens. It contains like information about how to realize your sexual orientation, your gender identity, where to seek help, where to find your supportive friends, how to build up your relationships, like sex education information, some section for like relatives, like parents.
Can you explain why your project is important?
The idea of self-tanu is based on the fact that in the region, we mean Central Asia and Eastern Europe, the situation for LGBTQ plus people is not perfect. Somewhere it's, in some countries, it's really poor. One of the most vulnerable groups who suffer from all the like repressive laws, all the transphobia, homophobia, etc. It's queer teenagers. And that's why we decided to create this project.
I want to talk about the importance of our project, Self-Tanu, from the perspective of the language. I'm from Kazakhstan, and this website is also in Kazakh language, and the information that we have in Kazakh, we have never had it before, like online. So we're like the pioneers of this kind of education in Kazakh language. So I think this is like huge for people who speak Kazakh, who consume information in Kazakh. And like we're also helping the society to overcome the stigma around the language, to have a chance to exist in the modern context. Yeah, this is why like I really love working on this project, because I think we're doing something that nobody else dares to do. And I don't know, it just helps me feel like I'm such a rebel, you know, like, and I'm such a and like yeah.
How's the current situation for queer people in Kazakhstan?
So the situation with LGBTQ plus in Kazakhstan, it's a little tricky because on the one hand, we're one of the few countries in the region that don't really have any, you know, like big anti-LGBTQ plus laws. For example, most of the countries around Kazakhstan, they have the law against propaganda. Like for example, Kyrgyzstan, they have a law against propaganda among kids that they totally copied from Russia, and in Russia, like they already announced the LGBTQ movement as like the extremist movement. Even the country like Georgia that used to have like prides, they have the law against propaganda among kids. Like in Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, men can get into the sexual connection with other men. However, like every 3 to 6 months, the government officials in Kazakhstan, they discuss the law to like ban everything regarding LGBTQ plus. Every time the activists and human rights defenders, they are finding ways not let this big homophobic laws to be enforced. But I don't know how long they can fight this back.
How are we able to support queer people in Kazakhstan?
Sort of speaking about the atrocities that our government is doing is very important, I think, especially if you have like some media resources, like if you have the audience, if you have just yeah, that would really support us. That would really support the local community. It would mean that our problems, like the community, is like being seen, you know.
What do you wish for queer people in the future?
So you know, like they say that nothing ever lasts forever. Everything comes to an end at some point, and the state that the world is in right now, it won't last forever, obviously. So I just really wish my community in Kazakhstan to have a little patience. I know it sucks right now, and like you don't really feel safe, and it's just, but like it'll end, and I'm pretty sure it'll get better soon. Yeah.
After speaking about the situation in Kazakhstan, Sasha is now going to talk about Russia.
So I'm from Russia, and if we are talking about what's going on inside the country, we were living under anti-LGBTQ plus a law of like propaganda law. This law it was accepted in 2013. So when I left Russia in 2022, it was like 9 years of living under the law. It means that you're not allowed to do anything, but it doesn't mean that you will be arrested tomorrow, but it means you are living under permanent risk. And if you, for instance, get attacked by homophobes, police won't be really enthusiastic about protecting you. Maybe you just get more problems if you go to police after an attack. And then 2022 and full-scale invasion of Russia into Ukraine, they started to accept anti-LGBTQ plus laws one by one, and at the moment there are 5 anti-LGBTQ plus laws, and most significant of them, I think, the first one, they recognize all the LGBTQ plus people extremists. The joke and the meme we have is when you're an extremist in a terrorist state. And another one is that they prohibited completely transition. Means not only that people cannot like legally make a medical or social transition, it also means people afraid to ask for basic medical help, go to hospital when they have like, I don't know, pneumonia, because doctors, they might see their like genitals and they can report to police. So trans people are under permanent risk, and it's a real tragedy because it's a genocide inside the country against a very small and very vulnerable group. So this is the situation.
How are we able to support queer people in Russia?
It's not only about Russia. As I said before, Russian policy affects like global community, I would say. And I think that all the queer communities across the world need to be covered. Need to be covered in media, in like social media, because there are so many problems and issues and tragedies that are not visible. We need to try to find opportunities for solidarity, because what we see now, like right wing guys, they're rather good in solidarity, they're rather successful in solidarity, and this is something we need to improve ourselves in as well.
How should we act now, and what is important to do?
What is really important now, it's talking about issues of transgender people, what they encounter as transgender people, because it's a global problem, and it's not only about transgender people. I want each person, like straight, doesn't matter, realize that transgender issues, it's about everybody. If transgender people get repressed, everybody gets repressed. All our diversity gets repressed this way. So our right to self-reflect who we are, our right to be who you are, and practice it, and to live our own lives, even if we are not majority of people. So it's a very important right, the right of self-reflection. And this right is attacked when they attack transgender people, and it's about everybody.
And I think that's so true. In the end, it's about all of us. It's about the small and the big moments, about being loud when you see injustice, about standing side by side, and to care about and for each other. I've learned very much about myself on this journey, but the most important thing I gained is hope. The people I met taught me. That's why I also want to give the last words in this video to them.
I just wish each queer person to experience the ultimate joy of being, of just living and existing and sharing their love with others and with themselves. Just spread some love.
It's our story. We are the writers and the creators of it. And no matter how the systems, the oppressive systems, and all what's going on right now in the world, like with the wars, the genocide, and everything, no matter how hard the patriarchy and all these heteronormative systems trying to tell us otherwise, like they will never own our hearts and our souls. This will always be ours. Yeah.
I would wish to queer people to be brave, to keep moving, to keep be yourselves. I see no other way.